Time flies when you're having fun. And though it's hard to believe, I've now been putting videos up on this channel for 2 whole years. More than 1,000 videos, more than 5,000 subscribers, and this thing has become far bigger than I ever predicted. Now, after a big milestone, I always think it's kind of important to look back, take stock, and think about what I've learned. And in the last 12 months, I think the biggest thing I've discovered, or I should say rediscovered, has definitely been make mistakes. Make mistakes and don't be afraid of making mistakes. As a math teacher, I spend all day asking questions. Many people think that, teaching is mainly about telling people what to think. That's kind of true, but more often I'm asking questions and trying to draw students toward articulating ideas and developing skills themselves. And a long time ago, a very wise person told me that the one doing the talking is the one doing the learning, which is why peer teaching is so important. But I'm getting sidetracked. My point is that I ask lots of questions every day. And so often, I find students preface their answers with a little phrase. And that phrase, it breaks my heart every time I hear it. The phrase is, I'm not sure this is right, but... Look, I'm exaggerating a little. I'm actually really glad that anyone will be willing to stick their hand up in class, even when they're not 100% confident they're right. That's awesome. And actually, I'm really proud of my students when they go out on a limb with an idea and take a risk in front of their friends. I think that takes a lot of courage and bravery, and that's fantastic, right? But I think it reveals something really sad about classroom culture and our society in general when we feel like we kind of need to ask for permission before we say something when we're not sure it's 100% right. And kind of we're all like that, aren't we? We put up our hand, and even though it's a very simple physical action, it almost feels like in a classroom there's this big stage light sort of shining on us, and now everyone's looking at us, and if we get things wrong, then everyone will think we're an idiot. I think it's really sad that our classrooms are like that and that our society is like that there's so much expectation and pressure that we have to get things right and we have to get them right first time. In fact, it's when we get things wrong, it's when we make mistakes and then analyze those and try and work out why we did things wrong, that's when we actually learn. So this year, as many of you know, I've been in a new role in a new school, and I've been constantly, every day, multiple times a day, thrust into unfamiliar situations, and I've made mistakes. And here's the important thing that I've really rediscovered this year. When you're under pressure, when you don't have enough time to get everything done, when you're encountering a new situation, that's when you really learn. And it's important to put yourself deliberately into those situations. Getting outside your comfort zone is really hard. If you're anything like me, then you've kind of spent your whole life running away from mistakes. And there's kind of this analogy that I really like, which is that everyone has a mistake monster. It's kind of like, this little creature that's following us around, and we spend, so much of our effort trying to flee from that monster, as if it's going to, pin us to the ground and sort of eat our brains out when it catches us. And we're very, very we're afraid, we're mortified of making mistakes and making them in front of other people. But the reality is that our mistake monsters, everyone's got one, is actually, if you can make it your friend, going to be a really valuable ally. Because our mistake monsters, they just want to teach us. They want us to help, they want to help us learn what's a good way to do things, what's an ineffective way to do things, and why things are one way or another. If only we will learn to embrace our mistakes and say, well, okay, I failed, I'll work out why I failed, and I'll make sure that I don't do that next time. Then that'll free us up to do all kinds of different things that we would just be too risk averse and too scared to ever attempt. There are always going to be people around who dislike you getting things wrong. It's not only ourselves and our own desire to always be seen as, getting things right and having this wonderful self-image, but there will be maybe, your family or the people that you work with or the people who supervise you. You're always going to interact with some people who are very intolerant of people making mistakes. But it's really up to you to settle for yourself. The person who's really got to live with your mistakes is you. And if you resolve to say, look, I'm going to make mistakes. In fact, I'm going to attempt things and put myself in situations where I know I'm going to do things wrong and I'm going to have to pick myself up. Then you're going to learn lots more. You're going to achieve a lot more. And that's going to be beneficial to you and to everyone around you. So here's some homework for you. I want you to go away and have a careful think to yourself about something that, you've been thinking about doing, you've been seeing other people doing perhaps, but you've always kept yourself back from because you're just too scared. You're gonna probably screw up, and you don't want to put yourself in that situation. You don't want to see other people recognize that you're not perfect, that you can make mistakes. Think about something like that and resolve that you're going to give it a go. You're going to give it a shot, and if you mess up, which you probably will, that's okay. You're going to pick yourself up, you're going to learn from that, and you're going to give it another shot. And you're going to keep on persevering until you really master it. Do it for yourself. It's going to be really valuable. You're going to learn tons from it, and your character will grow as well. And good luck.